Tony D here, and little Joan is asleep on the couch. This is a screenwriter's rant for Detective Night Redemption, another Bruce Willis movie, even though he's retired. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. The links are in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's The Pineys, books 1 through 10. Available on Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. It all takes place in South Jersey. Bruce Willis is a South Jersey guy. Anywho, yeah, it's, I'm not so sure about these movies. There's this whole Detective Night trilogy that they did with Bruce before he retired. But I'm not sure if he was lucid enough to make these movies work. The trailer looks good, and it looks like a solid sort of die-hardy type movie. Except in this case, the plot is from the previous movie, he ends up in jail. Yeah, he's a decorated cop, ex-military, blah, blah, blah. Somehow he ends up in jail at the end of the previous movie. And then the bank robbers, or some of the bank, I think they were involved in the first movie. I don't know if this character in particular, the leader was, but he's super psychotic and he's robbing banks, and then they have a bank robbery where they're dressed as Santa, but then they have a prison break and everybody gets out of jail except Bruce Willis doesn't leave because he's an ex-cop and he's obeying the law. So they offer him a deal if he can capture evil Santa guy, which basically means, he's going to kill him. Then they'll drop all the charges and he'll be free to do the third movie, which I think they already shot. And I guess that's coming out in February. So it's Detective Night Redemption. Or no, this is Redemption. I forget what the other one was. And then there's a third one. So, it's not like Die Hard because they're not trapped in a building. They're kind of all over the place, but it looks like they spent some money on the movie. December 9th it comes out. Rated R for adult situations. So that's probably just for violence and F-bombs. It looks fine. It looks like a Bruce Willis movie. He's not doing a lot of physical stuff, though, you could tell. Other than going like this, other than shooting dudes, he's not fighting, he's just holding a lot of guns, looking very stoic. It must have sucked towards the end of, his movie career that he couldn't remember lines or couldn't remember things, that he was getting that bad. Because, he must have at first said, I'm fine, just forgetful or whatever. But, he still looks decent, He is starting to show his age. Obviously, he's an older guy, but, he's still got it. He's still doing the stern look. He's still got, the stoicism. The question is, can they get around the acting? It looks like the way they got around it is they minimized Bruce Willis scenes as much as possible. And most of it's going to be, I think, longer drawn-out scenes with the bad guys, and then Bruce Willis talking very little, while other characters around him facilitate him, just responding, which, can work. I don't totally go by me because I'm biased towards Bruce Willis. I totally want this to be a good movie. I'd like this to be a good send-off for him. So I would see this movie regardless. It would have to get an insanely bad review for me to go, I can't watch this. I mean, it would have to be like, what was that Kevin Smith movie with him? Bad Cop? I think it was called something like that. Or Red Cop. I don't remember. The one with Tracy Morgan. Um, any more info? No. So, I think this is the last hurrah of Bruce Willis. I don't know. Every time I say that, another movie comes out. So, it's going to be this movie and one more with Detective Night, and that'll be the end. You know, the other thing is they could just keep shooting until Bruce Willis gets the line right. You know, that would be frustrating to some degree, but it's not like he wasn't partly lucid. You know, it wasn't like he's Joe Biden in a movie. So, again, I think it can work. I want it to work. The trailer does look exciting. You know, it looks very much like, kind of like Lethal Weapon. Because Lethal Weapon took place, I think, during Christmas. And so it's like they're playing Christmas music, but then there's action scenes that contrast it. It's kind of like Die Hard in that respect, too. And so this makes sense. It's coming out on Christmas. Maybe they're trying to recapture that kind of Die Hard spirit, and that's why they planned this. Because this seems very planned. You know, as opposed to releasing this thing in the summer where it would get crushed. You know, holidays are a time to relax and do stuff with your families, and some families go to the movies. It's definitely a Jewish tradition, I've heard, and you know, and even non-Jewish families. I mean, you got a few days off, you might hit the movies. Is this going to be the top, you know, movie you're going to see? I don't know. Normally, I think this would see. It's going to be in select theaters on December 9th. Normally, this would get a wide release. I mean, back in the day, Bruce Willis, sure, would have been one of the biggest movies ever. But, you know, it's not necessarily just about the star. It's also about who produced it and, you know, what distribution they had. There's almost no other star. I don't see any other names in this movie. So they're hanging the entire thing on Bruce Willis. You know? And that's not a knock against the cast. I just don't recognize anybody other than Bruce. So first act, he's already in jail. The events of the first movie kind of wind down or set up this. I think the first movie had bank robbers in it too, so it's about the remaining bank robbers are still at large. He gets blamed for something they did. You know, even though in the first movie he would have had to have kind of won the day, but kind of not. So maybe it goes too far and kills a bunch of bank robbers, but the rest get away and then he gets somehow blamed. I don't know. I didn't say it. So he's in prison. The bank robbers are running amok. You know, people are saying, no, we gotta let out Bruce Willis so we can stop the bank robbers. They're like, no, he broke the law. And then second act, the bank robbers are getting completely out of control, and then they stage a prison break for some reason, which works, except Bruce Willis doesn't leave prison because he's a law-abiding guy. And then they offer him, hey, you want to get out of prison if you capture this guy, like, which is such a weird offer considering he could have walked out of prison. And he seems to be innocent of the previous crimes, but I didn't see the first movie yet, so so he says yes, but basically give me a gun and I'm just going to kill this dude. So they kind of acknowledge that, and then he goes after him, and there's a lot of shooting and a lot of posturing. I think at one point Bruce Willis's daughter gets captured, and then she's going to be held hostage, and that'll be the climax of the movie. And then Bruce Willis murders everybody, and the end. But I think there's a third movie, I believe. Yeah, there's a third Detective Night movie. So something else is going to be revealed in the third act that's going to lead into the third movie. Detective Night will return in... I believe that comes out in February. I forget the name. So, I would see this. But again, I'm biased. You know, Bruce Willis is... where's he from? I think he's from Pennsgrove. South Jersey, and he almost bought, like, I think it was part of Pensgrove, like a whole beachfront property. He was going to revitalize the area. I don't know, the deal fell through or something. It's a shame. But he's retired now. So hopefully this will be a nice send-off for him. Hopefully this will, I mean, I don't expect it to be the biggest movie ever, but I expect it to be very watchable. It'll be decent. It won't be embarrassing. I mean, that's a low bar, but, I don't want it to be like, is Bruce in this movie? Like, I don't want it to be that bad. I'm sure they'll not leave in any scenes of him, doing something stupid, but at the same time, I want it to be good. I want it to be a decent, watchable movie where, oh yeah, I forgot he had aphasia. Not like, wow, he hasn't been in a movie for a while. You know what I mean? So, hopefully they got a nice balance there. Hopefully they could get this all in before he got too bad. And, hopefully it makes a little money. Hopefully it becomes one of these sleeper hits that people go, oh, did you ever see Bruce Willis's last 3 movies? They were pretty decent. That's I think the best we can hope for in this movie, because it doesn't really have the budget. And to be honest, the plot line isn't all that clever, seemingly. Santa bank robbers. Bank robbers and funny mask. It's kind of been done, but it doesn't really add much to it other than it makes the bank robbers arrogant. I mean, it feels very much like Batman in a lot of ways, like the comic, the old school comic, where criminals are just running amok in Gotham. So that's another sad thing about Bruce Willis. I always thought Bruce Willis would be a good old Batman, like Dark Knight Returns Batman. He'd get in shape and then put on the cowl and just beat the hell out of guys. But that's probably not going to happen. But I look forward to seeing this at some point. Detective Night Redemption, December 9th. Bruce Willis is back. And that's it for me, Tony D, and little Joan asleep on the couch. We're going to do the live stream at 7 today, 7 o'clock. So join us for that, and we'll see you at that time.